So yeah, we have now 150 plus people who have logged in today, and as the topic says, effective strategies to drive customer service excellence in stockbroking industry. It's a very competitive industry right now, and in a very highly competitive industry, stockbroking, the customer service is taking the limelight because according to recent service industry, 70% of clients prefer customer service while choosing a broker. And today in this webinar, I would like to discuss what are the key strategies, technological advancements, and what are the processes enhancements that companies like yours have gone through to ensure that you provide the best and seamless customer experience to your clients. Today, we'll discuss how we can manage ever-increasing cloud loads to ensure that uninterrupted service, how we can leverage automation to improve self-service, how can you empower your agents to provide the best trust and exceptional customer service. Before and to move ahead, we'll move over the keynote question, which is for all the speakers. Effective customer service and client communication is the cornerstone of all businesses. So my question to all the speakers is, what are the key challenges that you have faced in client communication? And what steps did you take to address these challenges to ensure that you provide the best customer experience? Ankit, why don't we start with you?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prantik. So first of all, I welcome you all of the attendees and panelists, co-panelists who joined with me. So I think everyone is from the stockbroking or stock market industry. I am myself from both broking and wealth management industry. So let me start on a positive note. I think India as an economy is in its best shape. The full potential is yet to be unleashed. As I was reading in a report by WEF, we are going to create 140 million middle income households by 2030 and 14 million HNIs. So from my point of view, the average growth of our industry will be more than 20% per year by revenues, and by number of clients, it might be more than 20%. So there is a lot of potential which is untapped, and we have to understand currently there are two types of brokers. One is a full-fledged broker who provides hand-holding, who provides all type of services to the client, who provides you wealth management, who will also file your return. So, and one is a proper online broker who is basically providing you paperless, humanless experience and based on AI and chatbots. So the thing I see with my clients is that there are totally two different things, right? So we in Globe Capital, we are a more traditional broking service where we have more clients which need physical hand holding and clients who need to be navigated through markets ups and downs. Because you have to understand, when the market falls, if a client will ask some question and a robot answers, the client will not like it. Client will need some hand holding. And many times what happens is these markets, client says that sell all my holdings. Then you need some logic, some market outlook, some knowledge of research to help that client navigate through those markets. So I think one of the challenge you face in client communication in volatile times is this: when you have to make the client understand that this is the right thing to do according to the research and according to our view, and please don't panic and do anything. So I think one of the challenges is that, especially handling the clients in these volatile times. And I think one point which I really face is the training part, like for the KYC part, for the account opening part, and those challenges come. Plus, of course, the taxation part of it, and the communication to the clients about all these aspects is very important.
Thank you, Ankit, for your views. Mr. Narang, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Prantik. I think Ankit has very clearly laid down the basics. So instead of calling it as challenge, I'll call it a strategy. So we have at IIFL Securities various channels, whether it's one is B2B and one is B2C. And within B2C, we have two channels. One is our HNI channel and another is the retail channel. So as Ankit already pointed out, that if you are talking about HNI channel, It is more to be do with the physical rather only digital. So where we need hand-holding, we need guidance, we need research, we need to guide them how to go forward. Though they have access to the online channel when they want to look at their reports, their performance, all these are available online. So, but at the same time, when it comes to decision making, financial management, then probably we require a physical touch of it. And similarly, if you talk about your retail channel, where we now in retail you will find that people don't have time to call you up and find it out. They prefer to do it by themselves. The whole thing, the whole scenario has changed with the I will say revolutionize the automation. Everybody look at they want to do it by themselves. So we focus on they can do it whatever is possible at their end itself. So they have to approach us to get the things done. So everything is online. So various channels. So we believe in omni-channel approach where all the channels are available. Whether they want to approach us through chatbot, whether they want to approach us through WhatsApp, whether they want to approach us through call or email, everything is the backbone is same our CRM. So there is a consistency in experience, consistent touch points. Whichever touch point that he comes through, he gets the similar experience, and he doesn't have to repeat the things. He doesn't have to say the same thing again, and the agent has a view of what all is happening. So that is where we can control the experience to the customer. That is the most critical. And second is the thing is where you talk about the first touch point. If it is a HNI customer, your front end team becomes very critical. Your RM become very critical. Their training becomes very critical. So that is one channel, communication channel, which is very, very critical in terms of having the sales done. So both the pieces in terms of service, I call it service, are the two touch points, basic touch points, front office from the sale and service perspective, and the customer service touch point from the service and sales perspective. Because even once you provide a better service, cross sell becomes much easier. So that is the relationship we have to maintain. So this is my take on the challenges. If you talk.
Some very key insights by both Mr. Agarwal and Mr. Narang, and on the types of brokers and the type of clients they did, also the various touch point, be it an offline model or a digital model or a phygital model, which and how the strategy changes. And we'll definitely go deeper into this as we go and discuss today. Next up, Mr. Sen, your thoughts on the same?
Sure. See, my co-panelists have laid this down very beautifully. I'll just add on a few more things. So if you take a look into the age profile of the market participants, you will see that, it's generally trending that increased participation in the market is coming from people who are between 18 to 35 years old. And these are people who are born, a distinct number of these people are born after 1995, after 2000, and they really have, they are all digital natives. Okay, they can't even probably imagine a life when we didn't even have mobiles. For them, getting things instantly, getting things available at right when they need it, they expect the broking firm to be there at that point in time. You need to be where your customers are is the very common adage. So that's what we are looking at in Ventura. Our presence is omni-channel, but we are increasingly seeing that the customers prefer reaching out to us on typical digital mediums like WhatsApp. There's always a certain amount of people who are comfortable in using the call and trade or the telephone lines and so on and so forth. But there is the younger people, they distinctly prefer moving into completely digital modes of transactions and commitments. And that's where also the challenges come in, because see, as the client base is growing, there is an increased pressure on the technology systems to basically scale up. As the clients, as the client base grows, okay, the technology needs to elastically scale up. That's a very important thing out there. Another very important thing is that you need a robust, playbook. Your agents need to be very aptly trained, okay, so that they can understand and respond to the most common questions in the fastest manner possible. The internal learning and management system becomes quite crucial. And if not, then there is going to be obviously more time to answer questions, and without a proper tracking, or the TAT, that how long did it take to resolve the customer queries, etc. Those things become, service quality eventually degrades. So, I would say that, the customer base is growing. That's an opportunity to improve our services. It definitely puts a pressure on technology because that needs to grow elastically as the client base is growing. And most certainly, you need to have a fairly, robust internal system to monitor and the metrics against which you are going to be judging people, right? How satisfied is your customer? What was the resolution like? Could the customer not have figured this out on his or her own in the app or in the website? Why did it take the customer to reach out to you? And if the customer did, how quickly were you able to turn things around? And if you were not, then how quickly were you able to come up to a resolution? So I think that's where I'd say where the most challenges come in. The scaling up of the technology is very crucial.
Absolutely. And this is what technology has also helped us solve. And with total analysis of what are your average handle times, how quickly your agent has been able to sort a query is certainly a key metric for customer service.
That's right.
Mr. Shah, I hope you heard the question before because I saw you were out. So
Yeah, can you just pardon me the question, please?
So we are discussing what are the key challenges with respect to client communication and what steps did you take to address these challenges to ensure the best customer service?
Right. So basically, the customer service, thank you so much for your question, repeating the question.
No worries.
And so basically, customer service has become an integral part of, every business. I would say, although it has taken the non-strikers end most of the time, but, thinking of the business growth, the customer service will soon becoming the front foot player in the terms of business players. So there was a very interesting incident which happened with me a couple of years back when, a guy approached me from my team stating that, sir, we are at 98% even TAT. We are resolving the customer queries to the app. We are providing the every solution. Then why is it that the forefront or the footage is always given to the dealing and the sales team, and why not the services and the support functions? So it's very important to understand your role in what exactly you're doing. So what I asked him that, what was your exact nature and what was your preferred sport? So he stated it's cricket. So I told him that, if in cricket, if you are comparing Tendulkar along with Rahul Dravid, you need to understand that, Tendulkar will take all the footage, and rightly so, because he deserves every bit of it, and not Rahul Dravid. The only thing when Rahul Dravid will come into picture is when, Tendulkar will not be hitting or will not be scoring good. So only then when you realize that, Rahul Dravid has to become the front foot player in terms of becoming the aggression, in terms of aggression. So the role, let's take an example of this particular lockdown, wherein, the dealing was not happening, the further sales was not happening. That's when, the customer service took the role of a Tendulkar or a Kohli. And, the sales team took a role of a dealing of this guy, Rahane or a Chiteshwar Pujara or a Dravid. So you need to understand your role that, somewhere of the time you will get that opportunity wherein you are the front foot player and not the back foot player. But most of the time, yes, you will be the non-strikers end, and you need to perform it from there itself. So that's when, he realized, and when that particular role of that person, the role which you are performing is understood by you, is when you'll start excelling.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. A wonderful cricket analogy to explain us the roles. Sudhanshu, your thoughts?
Yeah. So, as the need to be, as one of the previous speakers rightly highlighted, a large number of people that we are dealing with, either within our organization or outside the organization, are typically digital natives, right? It's very, very important for us to be always at the cutting edge of technology to make sure that the Rahul Dravid kind of people can perform, right, when Sachin is not performing, right? To enable them, we need to make sure that we are at the cutting edge of technology at all times. And thankfully, the providers like Ozontel, for example, have been able to fulfill that demand. We've been able to help our customers deal with the kind of security, the kind of flexibility, the scalability, the increased demand, the ability to interact across multiple channels and deal with provide the same experience, provide continuity, provide succor at a short notice. We've been able to do all of that thanks to the latest innovations and the technology that we are able to provide. And I'll be very happy to talk more about it, but then I don't want to hijack the whole conversation about stockbroking and related subject to our own technology, but happy to talk more about it as we go along.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. And that was a lovely discussion for the keynote question. And one of the key highlights was empowering your agents. Like Mr. Sen mentioned, having playbooks for them, enabling them with the right technology. And I think the right thing about customer service, it's about two aspects. It's your agents, and it's also the blend of technology that you adopt to empower them. And here's my next question to Mr. Ankit and Mr. Narang. How can stockbroking firms empower their customer service agents with the right tools and training to deliver top-notch service? Mr. Narang, your thoughts on the same. I can repeat, how can stockbroking firms empower their agents with the right tools and technology and training, of course, so that they can deliver the right service?
Okay. Now, see, agents are the most crucial piece in the whole gamut of things when you talk about service. Okay. Please understand, when client is approaching, the impression that he is interacting with someone who's an expert in the subject and will guide him properly. So the most critical thing for any agent is that whether he is able to clearly comprehend the issue. I find most of the time client is not able to put across the issue itself. So the probing is the very, very critical piece of it. To do that, first thing is the agent himself should be an expert. So there are two pieces to any agent's training. One is your soft skill training, other is your product knowledge and process level trainings. So soft skill training is very standard in the industry and everybody knows about it. And we have tools who can train on soft skill depending upon how would you perform, your voice modulation and everything. The other piece is product and process level training, which is again very, very critical. Because what we are looking at when you talk about self-service, most of the self-service is done by the bots. But when if a client is approaching you after the bot, means there is a critical issue which bot is not able to resolve. It is not easy to immediately say that it is off the shelf. So agent has to clearly understand the issue, guide the client correctly, and he also needs a support. So one thing which we have done is that the CRM itself has become a support where we have created a knowledge base for the agents to refer to if they are not able to address the issue immediately. One is they can go back to the client, but the best client satisfaction is when you have the first time resolution on the call itself. So there is no trail, then you don't have to check, go back to him. So to have a maximum FTR, the best part is that agent should be provided support immediately. So that is what we have created, is that we have created a knowledge base within the CRM where he can, like client can do a bot for the simple queries, for complex one, for know the processes, to understand the processes. Sometimes to have a right question in place, he can always use that knowledge base to find out. So that first thing, he should understand the query, and secondly, he should provide the correct resolution. So both pieces can be addressed, one when he is expert. Otherwise, even if it's a new agent who is just trained, put on the floor, very important that he has immediate support available, because your floor manager or team manager will not be available all the time for the support. So your terminal itself should provide that support to give a best of the experience. Because at the end of the day, what client carries your experience, you give it on the first time. So that is my approach, how we deal it here.
Thank you, Mr. Narang. And we totally agree that having a knowledge base is very important. One thing we also call in our industry is having a 360 view of the client, the history, complete history.
Yes.
How often do they call? What are the usual queries in? Or even if it's the first time, can your knowledge base help them? Ankit, your thoughts on the same?
Yeah. So just to continue from what Mr. Narang said, I think empowering your RMs, empowering your customer service agents is the most important thing an organization has to do. Because see, my team represents my views. Ultimately, it all goes down from top to down. right? If they won't have the right training, then it won't go down to the clients. So I think first thing is you have to do a regular training to all the RMs about the various products your company has to offer and what the market has to offer. He should have a basic understanding of both fundamental and technical research. We compulsory have them passing the NISM exam so that they have an understanding of the market themselves. We also have regular interaction between our research team and our customer service agents and our relationship managers about market outlooks and various queries which the clients have. See, what happens is also these RMs have to go to the clients and understand what their problem is. Like Mr. Narang said, they also don't know what their problem is. So we also have like a questionnaire and like we have a software for that, where either you can have a customer service agent directly on phone, or you can ask these questions on a software and the software will answer. So basic questions like whether you understand markets or not, how much experience you have in the market, what is your net worth. We also try and make a IPS, investment positioning statement, where we ask that how much investment you have in equities, how much investment in debt, what is your risk and return requirements, do you have any liquidity constraints. So all these things we also train our RMs, because see, these RMs are not customer care agents. These RMs are wealth managers. Our customer executives all are wealth managers. Ultimately, their aim is to build wealth. Their aim is to build retirement corpus. So if they won't understand all these technical things, then they won't be able to communicate. Like Mr. Narang said, one is soft skill. Of course, communication both in Hindi and English and any other regional languages is very important. Number two is the technical part of it. For the technical part of it, we try to empower our RMs by regular training, regular feedback. I think feedback is very important, because many times what happens is we don't have those queries taken care in the training. We ask our RMs that what actually queries are. We have a regular meeting with the RMs and we ask what is the issue of a client, and then we try to incorporate those issues which could come up in the training material so that it could be resolved automatically. So I think this is very important, because ultimately you are not the RMs are representing your company. You cannot represent your company everywhere. Right.
Just curious, how important are features like call recording or speech analytics helpful in this QA? I know they are mostly used for your QA process, but do they also help in the training part? Supposedly a new agent comes in and you can go through his recordings over a certain period of time. And is there also a part of your training process at your organization?
Yes. I think it that is the base for the feedback. If when you hear a call recording, then you can give feedback to that customer executive, and that is the base for the feedback.
I would like to add here is that your speech analytics can play a big role in terms of because it is not practically possible to check all the recordings. So if you can check the speech analytics through speech analytics, which are the calls where probably, because today we are doing quality check. Quality check is on random sampling basis. So it is a very good tool in terms of training the agent. Okay. So that can be a post facto thing, that you understand how he has interacted, how he has understood, how he has realized, and where are the weak areas where you need to train the agent. Okay. But important thing is to figure it out, which are the calls where client was not handled properly, which could be possible escalations, where client was have a high pitch, or probably agent has lost his temper. Agent has gone to the high pitch. Your sample recording will not do that. So that is where I think speech analytics can play a very big role.
I think that is a good point, because ultimately those are the recordings which will give you a better feedback and which will help you train the RM in future about those situations.
Very true. I think speech analytics has a role to play in all industries, wherein the pitch or the tone of the agent, the tone of the customer, if there are escalations which the agent has not been able to sort it, and it can go to a different team. Definitely.
So basically, the sampling should not be a random sampling. It should be a stratified sampling. is the whole idea behind it, so that, the outcome of that particular entire thing, or the quality, comes in a better way to the customers and the customer service people.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Moving ahead, a substantial volume of business is handled over telephonic communications in the broking industry. And given the volatility nature of the industry, when a certain events happens, the volatility may go very high, and the inbound volumes may go very high, and which are very common for a brokerage firm. And it can have a direct impact on your customer service team. The call queues may go high, the handling team average handling times will go high. Also, there'll be abandonment rates which will be high. So how can you ensure to address this issue in a best way, Mr. Shah?
Thank you, Pratnik. So basically, I would like to answer this particular question in a bit of bits and pieces. The first and foremost thing which a company needs to do is to send a proactive communication to all the customers. Like, let's take an example that, the system has crashed, and there is a slight bit of delay in terms of, resuming that particular system. What you can do is you can send a automated SMS or a WhatsApp message, or anything, the fastest mode of communication which should be available in the company should be striked to all the active customers. I'm not telling go ahead and communicate to all the customers. All the customers who are actively trading into your platform, please send those messages to them. What this would ensure: two things. One is that the customer engages that confidence that, yes, there is a delay, they are accepting it, they're acknowledging it, and yes, it will be conquered, or it will be rectified within 5 minutes. And the second thing is, it will refrain the customer from calling your call center. That yes, they are aware that, it will take 5 minutes. The answer which I'm going to get from there is that yes, it will be resumed in 5 minutes. So might as well I wait for 5 minutes, and rather than after, if it is not resuming, I'll call up. So this will do two advantages in case of proactive communications. The second thing is, multitasking your agents in terms of BCP or anything. Let's take a business continuity plan or anything. So multitasking your agents is basically, whenever there's a high call volume, your email agents should be in a position to pitch in to the calling agents, and vis-a-vis, if the call volume is low and the email volume is high, your calling agents should be in a position to manage the email flow as well. So the multitasking of the agents is a very, very, very important thing, which I follow in my company. The third point is, of course, with regards to the customer segmentation. I mean, if the customers are segmented properly, like, let's take an example, like for us, it is like yes first, yes private, stuff like that. So, all these customers who are the HNI customers, or the EHNI customers as we quote them. So these are the customers to whom we need to resolve the queries on a front foot basis. The reason being, they are the highest revenue givers. So if we have a technique, if we have a separate queues for this particular set of customers, the customer flow would be managed well, the calls would be managed well, and at the same time, the resolution of the same will also be managed very well. So this is the customer segmentation part. Now coming back to the TNIs, which Mr. Narang had already stated. The TNIs basically, is the outcome of your quality parameters. The quality which is provided, or rather the quality which is done for the agent call and stuff like that, the quality parameters and the quality scores which is given to the agents, basis that particular thing, a TNA, which is the training need analysis, is identified. On basis on that TNA, there is the Gyan session which we follow, and we rather do on every Saturday 11 to 12. So the entire CS team is on a Teams meet from 11 to 12, my entire CS team, and wherein the discussion of this particular thing happens, that what was the past week, it was a Saturday, it happens on a Saturday. So in past week, what were the critical queries which issued or popped up, which was the important circulars which came in. So each and everything, the entire CS team is updated up and upgraded with regards to every latest development, what exactly happens in the broking industry. So this is what we do on a regular basis on a Saturday and stuff like that. The second thing, which again, Narang sir had stated, was with regards to the feedback, or rather I would call it as an NPS, the Net Promoter Score. Seeking feedback from the customers is utmost important thing. You tend to realize that what are the requirements of the customer, what are the needs of the customer, what exactly is the need for an hour for these customers. So basis that particular NPS or the feedback which we receive from the customers, we can upgrade our systems, we can modify our systems, we can do a tweaking in our systems with regards to what exactly is their requirement is in terms of what they need and what they do not need. And the final thing is that, in terms of, controlling the ACHT and controlling the volumes and stuff like that, is that the every call has to be an FTR. It's a first time resolution. It cannot be a non-FTR. The thing is that for that particular FTR, your systems should be loaded, your agents should be loaded with information, your agents should be able to load it with the things which the customers require on a priority basis. They should not be hanging around hanky-panky things that I'll go to this department and check out and that department and check out. Your system should be robust to provide each and every details on that particular call itself, rather than moving from here and there. So that's how we, as a Yes Securities, we handle that particular call volume and analyze this.
Thank you, Mr. Shah, for letting us know a very detailed process wherein you prioritize a proactive communication versus a reactive one, and how you have segmented your customers and you have different strategies for your different customer segmentations. Sudhanshu, your point of view from a technology service provider.
Yeah. So, it was very interesting to hear the kind of comments that people made here. And, it was very, it was a kind of reassurance for a technology company like us to know that, these are exactly the problems that we are solving for our customers. For example, giving priority to important customers, even for a customer like, Big Basket, for example, right? Big Basket is one of our oldest customers, which is not in the segment that we are in here, but they also have some very important regular customers. So when those customers call the helpline, they never have to hear the wait tone or the on-hold music. What they have to hear, their calls automatically, if they call from a registered number, their calls automatically get prioritized and get assigned to a senior agent or somebody, a relationship manager who's responsible for them. Likewise, and the same feature we've implemented for many other customers as well. Likewise, the sticky agent philosophy. For the sake of continuity, for example, if one person is managing the relationship with a particular client and managing their trades or their transactions for a given day, right? If the customer calls back on the same number, their call would land with the same agent, right? This is how the system is configured and the technology enables it. And this also happens if the customer on the other side is reaching out not just on phone, but any other mode of communication, whether it's WhatsApp or email or any other channel that the company has defined as a part of its customer interaction channel. Call recordings, of course, our service provides for 100% recording of all the calls, and they are safe and secure. This is a mandate in this industry also, that you are required to record all customer calls, especially calls pertaining to trading, etc., where financial data is being exchanged, right? Or financial information is being exchanged. So that recording is there, and our two product that the product that we have in the area of speech analytics and QA, there it enables an organization or a service provider to audit 100% of their calls. Otherwise, if you're doing it manually, we've seen the best of our customers are able to listen to or manually audit only about 5% of calls. Whereas using an automatic tool, which is based on AI with the self-learning algorithm, you're actually able to listen to and audit 100% of your calls for sentiment, for use of words, for tone, for the right accuracy, etc., whatever parameters you define. And this happens across languages. So these are some of the new developments, new or rather more in line with the times kind of developments that we have incorporated in our offerings. And I think, these are things that are going to become the norm of the industry, especially this industry going forward.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Moving ahead to Mr. Sen. Automation has proved to be a valuable tool in the client communication to tackle the volatility of the market. And how do you think omnichannel automation can streamline customer services in scenarios where the volatility is high, or when you have clients reaching out to all channels? Like, you're on mute.
My bad. That's a very good question. Thank you for that. See, I have a couple of points to make here. First and foremost is having a single 360-degree profile of your customer is extremely important. Okay, Now, you may choose to have a single piece of software for this, or you may choose to have a collection of software which speak with each other. You may choose to bump it on into a single CRM. You may choose to use a couple of internal tools, external third-party providers. But having a single 360-degree profile of your customer is extremely important. Okay, if a customer is reaching out to you, you need to understand, where he or she is essentially coming from. It could have been that the person was probably trying to get a capital gains report, or was trying to understand some transactions, or the ledger balances doesn't seem to be accurate. Maybe there were some WhatsApp follow-ups, or maybe the person has written some email. Maybe the person did call up your call center a couple of days back, and the response was probably not to his or her liking. Maybe some internal support has already sent some emails, and so on and so forth. But understanding where the customer is coming from very quickly with a single 360-degree perspective is extremely important when you are actually responding, which basically means that you must have a robust backend, which is basically, can very quickly give agent a reasonably good view of where the person is essentially coming from. Okay, I'd like to highlight that, this is like extremely crucial. The person may even be reaching out through, mobile apps, maybe raising a support ticket, or may not be even a support ticket. It may be a conversational chat, trying to understand where the person is, or is this a fresh piece? That requires that is an extremely crucial, because if something already has a context, you would probably want to redirect this to somebody who either knows the context or is senior enough to handle the context. Probably junior or relatively junior staff can handle the newer issues, so as to speak. It's also very important to have a general understanding of where this client stands in terms of trading relationship. Okay, if let's say that you generally have been able to detect that this issue is let's say pertaining to, there can be lots of different kinds of trading that people engage in, complex strategies, or if the topic itself is, suitably complex, you would probably want to have, more evolved agents who have been here for some time, understand the finer nuances, be in a position to respond. The third thing is, see, the industry is evolving at a very fast rate. We have a very strong regulator in SEBI. Regulations keep, evolving themselves. It's very important for the agents and in general everybody in broking to be abreast with the regulations that are coming by. We have something or the other improving every couple of weeks, months, and so on and so forth. Having a detailed understanding of where the regulations are going, what is, or what is, let's say, if this is something that is going to impact the clients, or if this is something that has an impact on something that person is going to see on the app or on the website, these are kind of, a very crucial piece. You must be remembering the peak margin calculations, etc., the rules that SEBI changed, and so on and so forth. Now, those are all, very, very important things, keeping abreast with what the regulations are coming by, ensuring how these requests get directed to people who can probably answer them the most, keeping your internal systems abreast. If these questions come by to your automated channels, you should have a way to respond back to these via the automated means. But most importantly, the single 360-degree profile of the customer, that is what is, I would say, the most important piece. It really helps, in reassuring the customer that, okay, things, there is somebody who's having your back.
Thank you. We totally agree, having a 360-degree, which is the key of your CRM integration with other tools like your communication tools, really ensures that whatever calls or communications coming on for any channel, they know what the history is, and it also helps in a faster resolution.
That's right.
You spoke about compliances, and my next question for all the speakers is about how do you adhere to the SEBI guidelines or compliances in order to safeguard investor interest? Like we know that at top level, there are mandates to mandatory record the calls, data storage, and all. How do you ensure a secure and compliant workflow in support teams while adhering to these guidelines? We have examples of remote working environment. We are using bots. There's third-party technology teams coming to support your support systems. So how do you, in this entire mixture, how do you ensure that you adhere to the guidelines? Mr. Narang, your thoughts? You are on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry.
No.
Okay. See, if you look at the basic level that everybody adheres to the rules of the exchange, that goes without saying. I would prefer to look at it beyond that. See, if your recording is compulsory, it's compulsory for everybody. But what we do at our end, we even implement some analytical skills to it. Suppose there you figure it out, there are scenarios where something can go wrong. So basis on those scenarios, various scenarios, we create an analytical model, we throw out the data saying that this could be risky transaction, risky trades. So we go back to the client and speak to them, they are aware of it. That's one such example. Secondly, obviously, the communication is one piece which is mandatory, like pre-trade confirmation is mandatory for everybody. Over and over that, even if someone is trading through an RM, we give an online messaging system where he immediately get to know which all trades have been placed from his account, or which are trade got executed from his account. So he get online information. So SEBI has given a framework. SEBI has given good to have. For us, important is the trust. So how to build on that? See, everybody does everything, but we try to build on that trust. Therefore, we do few things which are beyond it. So he understands that what we are trying to do. Even if what we do is all trades which are done by probably by relationship managers, we send the end of the day a call to the client that whether they are aware of all the trades on his account. So there is no piece where it could be later there could be a dispute on that. So that is the primary focus. That trust with the client is maintained. So that in stock market, that is the most critical thing to have. And then we come to relationships. So that's it. We go one step further, use analytical models to figure it out if there could something can go wrong. If we get in data, we from HO itself directly get in touch with the client to figure it out if everything is fine. So that is how we deal with the requirements.
Thank you, Mr. Narang, and totally agree that trust is very important in this, and you can only communicate that you are trustworthy or your organization is trustworthy to security compliances and proper communication at all levels of transactions.
Yeah, because we have separate CISO, separate security team to look at the data security, system security. All those are mandatory. So one is mandatory, other pieces on top of it. So what else we can do beyond that?
Ankit, your thoughts?
Yeah, so totally agree with Mr. Narang on this. I think every one of us in the industry, we are the most regulated industry. So all the compliances, the minimum requirements, I think everyone is following. And the analysis part of it is very important because ultimately you have to also understand that we have our certain risk parameters, that some trades might be risky, some trades might lead to a potential loss when the markets are volatile. So you also have to train your RMs for these type of situations. When you think that the client is taking an irrational decision, you have to make the client understand that, please, I don't recommend this, but still, if you want to go ahead and make this trade, go ahead. But as a wealth manager, as an advisor, I won't advise you the same. So not only call recordings, sometimes you have to also understand, you have to advise the client also. And that also, we have a separate training for that, because ultimately we want the client to make money. We don't want any client to lose money, right? Also, one thing is that you have to have a separate verification. Like we have our internal auditors who also verify this, who sit with the compliance team, and just we want that there should be no, at the end of the day, there should be no pending issues, and through either calls or emails or anything, the communication should be totally transparent, right? So to ensure that, we have many basic tools and analytical tools. But at the end of the day, you have to ensure that all the trades are done by the client. And if the client is not satisfied with any of the trades, you should have enough backup to show that it was the client's call. You didn't take a call on client's behalf.
Thank you, Ankit. Mr. Shah?
Like rightly, like Mr. Narang and Mr. Agarwal has stated, both the things are very trust. The trust is the main factor in this particular thing. And the second thing which Mr. Agarwal pointed out was the risk management, wherein, if in case there are some risky stocks wherein, the clients should not be traded in, like let's take an example, or a Z group stock or a T2T segment stocks, wherein we do not prefer that particular stocks in our portfolio. Why would we prefer it for the clients then? So likewise, there will be clients that, that yes, I would still like to go ahead and buy this particular stocks. We do not recommend it, but in case if the customers are very much into that particular stocks, then yes, we might provide that particular stock to him for a minute or so. The trading window for that particular stock will be open for a minute or so. So that he can just place that particular order, and we again freeze that particular stock for the other customers. So this is basically, the entire thing which is evolving around is the customer service and the customer satisfaction and the need of the hour for the customer. What the customer needs, are we delivering that? Like let's take an example for your compliance thing. The compliance rules and regulations are not the same for every broker. Like it's different for the top 25 brokers and different for the rest of the piece. Like in case if there's a technical issue which is reported, the top 25 brokers are supposed to maintain that particular log on their website stating that yes, on so and so date between so and so time there was a technical glitch which happened on my system, and I'm reporting it. So which is this particular thing is not mandatory for the other brokers, the last part of the 25 brokers. So there are many things which the compliance team has to look around, the customer service has to look around it, and the call recordings, the order confirmations, the order parameters, everything has to be complied. So that's what, we as a Yes Securities, we are totally into this compliance business, and we thoroughly manage this particular thing of compliance, and we respect it.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Mr. Sen?
Sure. So I think I'd like to add here that, see, the way the regulator is playing this out is basically they themselves have come up with a compliance framework, so as to speak. Okay. Now, if you take a look into how the evolution of that compliance framework was originally starting up, they were a broad set of very well defined, but nonetheless loose guidelines per se, and you were expected to implement it on a best effort basis. Now, where the direction is, if you hear the SEBI, SEBI chairperson's comments, is that they're slowly working towards, moving those towards a more execution-oriented system. A classic case in point is the LAMA regulation that the SEBI has recently come up with. And you are expected to maintain, records of all your critical systems, whether it's an order management, execution management, client-facing, single sign-on, database, and any other critical system that is required. Not only that, the more systematically important QSBs, or the qualified service brokers, as the regulators call it, they are required to continuously send these records to the SEBI's internal systems every couple of minutes. And any time there is a issue, SEBI can pull those records up. Okay, that is the level of automation that we are looking at in this industry, and it's a very I would say it's an extremely encouraging sign that the entire compliance process is getting a pretty strong technology push from directly from the top. So the brokers are complying, and over a period of time, it will certainly result in better compliance systems, because the regulator is now defining the rules of execution, not leaving much to imagination. So there is a consistent and well-defined rules by which you will have to play against.
Thank you, Mr. Sen. Sudhanshu?
Yeah. So I think most of the speakers have actually nailed it on the head. Compliance is the norm, and today, the kind of requirements that are there in terms of both regulatory as well as in terms of customer expectations, a lot of compliance is mandatory. However, as one of the previous speakers mentioned, it is not really democratized in this industry. There are different norms for the top 25 brokers, and there are different norms for the others and sub brokers, etc. However, by making sure that Ozontel through its services and the way we have enforced our compliance norms by using the best of global standards in terms of infrastructure, in terms of service capability, in terms of the certifications that we have, we make sure that that all our customers get advantage of the same level of compliance norms and security policy that are the best in class. And this is something that our clients appreciate. One of the largest broking houses of the country, which deals not only with end customers, corporates, but also with a lot of sub brokers and agents spread across the country, is using our service, and we have actually customized quite a few of our offerings for them. And seamlessly, during the panic hours or during the volatility time, they sometimes have upwards of 1,000 concurrent calls to be handled, and each caller is restless, impatient, wanting service in a hurry, and we are able to manage that. They handle close to 40,000 calls in a day during trading hours from across the country, from brokers, sub brokers, and agent and customers, and they're able to do that seamlessly. And off banking hours, off market hours, they also get emails and requests from other channels as well. So it's all integrated into one platform, and with the track record maintained, the history maintained, and 100% of the calls getting recorded and saved in a secure manner. So these are some of the offerings that I just want to highlight. I know we as a company, as a provider of service, we find that the financial services sector is the most sensitive sector, frankly, because it affects really the bread and butter, or the kind of, it actually, things not working well can hurt where it actually hurts. So yeah, it's very, very important for us to maintain the highest levels of security and compliance norms, and we are proud of the fact that we are doing that.
Thank you, Sudhanshu, and I totally agree. Having a robust as well as compliant technology is essential in terms of handling volatility, high volumes. We have a question from the audience, and this question is open to all the speakers who wants to take this up. How to handle annoyed customers who is not ready to listen unless he got the call from higher authorities like CEO or CTO. So how do you handle annoyed customers? Any processes that you have to ensure that this is resolved?
I think more than process, it would be patience. I think Dharmender ji will elaborate on it. I think patience is the key in those times.
I'll take it up. See, let us understand one thing. If someone is insisting with talking to CEO or CTO, one thing is very clear, that is very upset with something which has not gone right. Okay, there are 2-3 scenarios. Number one, either there is a lot of delay in resolution. Number two, not correct resolution has been given. Number three, the person who has interacted was not to the level he is supposed to be. So he has got hurt somewhere. Could be any of the reasons. And secondly, when he is shouting or asking for CEO, it doesn't mean that he wants actually to talk to CEO. He wants some senior official to talk to him. The immediate would be that the agent should hand it over to the floor manager. This is one thing I have seen a lot of call center which is not happening, and make client more dissatisfied, keep shouting. So someone senior talks to him, give him a comfort, take his issue, understand his issue, and give him a correct resolution or give a time-bound resolution. I think 90% of the cases can be handled. There will be hardly 1 or 2% cases where he is basically is more of creating a nuisance. Then probably a next level would be required to a manager level or someone. Still, I don't think anybody still after going to a particular level, I have personally spoken to many clients, and after that, they don't ask for the CEO or someone. They want to express their anguish to some senior person that they have spoken to management at their point, put their point across. And somewhere we have to respect that. They're most likely somewhere the company would have faulted or agent would have faulted. So let's look at that gap, look at that fault, and then fix it for everybody so that it should not get repeated. That is could be the only learning out of it.
Prantik, at our company, what we do is, so first level is we have a dispute resolution team headed by a legal professional, which we have hired. So that person gets involved. And if deemed necessary, then that case goes to either the directors or the one level below, the senior managers. And ultimately, the issue is always about trades. And if a client has made loss, could be about broking, it could be about cost. So ultimately, all issues are resolvable with the some interest from the management. But first, we let it go to the dispute resolution team. And if still it is unresolved, then it goes to the top management.
Skill-based routing to the right team.
And basically, just one point to add over here is that, every customer expects their query to be acknowledged. So once, a customer comes up with a query, although he's very annoyed and stuff like that, if we acknowledge his query, if we understand his query, and if there is an escalation matrix which is in place in your company, then yes, the people or the customer service agents should follow that particular escalation matrix and should respect that particular escalation matrix. The reason being that escalation matrix is created for this kind of things only. Rather than, what we follow is that, in case if the customer's query is not resolved within the desired time, let's take an example that I have committed something to the customer that it will be resolved in an hour or a 2 hour. And if it does not happen due to any XYZ reason, we go back to the customer and tell him that, sir, yes, we are looking into it. We send an interim response that, yes, sir, your thing is being taken care into. I provide my personal mobile number that, sir, in case of any issues, you can call me back, rather than going through the entire loop of the this call center and stuff like that. You can directly have a call with me directly. So these are few things which caters the irate customers, to a large bit of extent.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Shah. Sudhanshu, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I wanted to add to what Jay was saying and some of the others were saying also, that any irate customer, any customer who's annoyed, first of all, he needs to be shown some empathy and some understanding, that understanding that we understand your issue, that agent training comes into play here, where he knows that instead of arguing or trying to, deny the customer whatever, he should first let him vent it out and share his agony. And then, gradually assure him that he's there to resolve the issue. And talking to a senior manager, etc., depending on the feasibility, depending on the escalation matrix, he can always arrange that. However, the issue is the first thing is to make sure that the customer is allowed to let his team off and, shown some empathy, shown an understanding of the issue, and then, coming to the actual resolution of the issue.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. Thanks to everyone for answering this question. We have two more questions from the audience. This is from Lalita. It says, as mentioned, if you share information to customers about downtime, will the customer not seek compensation? If yes, how to deal with them? Anyone who wants to take this up?
Okay. From my bit of pieces is that either way, if it's a downtime, client can always come and ask for a compensation. So nobody can stop it. Okay. But because there is a, I would say, stoppage of services somewhere. But if you are communicating upfront, one thing is sure, it is not a particular person who is getting impacted. It is the complete set of customers getting impacted. So compensation gets ruled out when you upfront tell them that there is a downtime. So when there is a technical downtime, even rules allows you to not to compensate for that front. But in any ways, once you upfront tell everybody is impacted, then everybody knows that he is not the only person. So come and ask for the compensation. If you don't tell them, then he probably thinks the problem at my end. So he'll come and ask for the compensation. So it's better to communicate and be transparent rather than keeping to yourself. Let the people come and then I'll explain, which doesn't make sense.
I think what NSE and BSE does is the same. if there is a downtime or if there is a technical issue, they inform all the important clients, important brokers, and we don't seek a compensation from the exchange for our loss.
One more question that we have is, how do we decide from which customer we take the feedback? Sometimes the query takes long to resolve, then we will not get a positive feedback. I think we should take feedback from all customers, but yeah,
Yes, yes.
I think it is important to get a negative feedback rather than a positive
True.
one. If you're getting negative feedback, that tell you where you are failing on. So failures will take you to the success, not the positive feedbacks.
Absolutely. I think that's it for the audience questions. We'll move ahead to the last closing remarks, and we would want to hear from all the speakers in what does the future look like in the stockbroking industry? Can we expect stockbroking firms to deliver a true omni-channel experience to customers?
Yeah, so I'll just start.
Yeah.
So like I said in the starting, I think there is a clear, so in the last 5 years, there has been a turnaround with the entry of the discount brokerages, and the focus has become on UI, providing services through phone, WhatsApp. And so one thing is that you have to understand, during COVID times, we jumped from 3 crore investors to 12 crore investors. Majorly, these investors are from 18 to 30 bracket, who are totally dependent on technology. They will just take up their phone, and either they will trade on the Bitcoin, either they will trade on the markets, or they will go to some gaming fantasy app. Like I said, I think yesterday I read there are about 160 million Dream 11 registrations, so 16 crore. I think they have beaten us. We are only 12 crore as an industry. Dream 11 is 16 crore. So I think we have to take quite a chunk of it. And so personally, I am very bullish on the industry. I think we will grow crazy, more than any industry, I think. And the more we grow, the more markets will grow, the more your Nifty and Census will grow. And of course, it's a chain. If the markets grow, then there will be more investors coming in, thinking that they can also join in the party. And I think the industry is thriving now, and industry will thrive even better, I think. And also, I'm very bullish on the 2024 elections, that it will be good for the markets. So my outlook is very positive.
Thank you, Ankit. Also, as a budding investor, I'm very happy to hear that. Mr. Narang, your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I'm very, I think for all of us, it's a very exciting time, honestly. That I think that is the only positive which has come out of after the corona. That markets have moved very good, and very important is the technology has moved very fast. See, we have moved I would say there's a complete revolution in terms of usage of technology. You look at mobile apps, trading on mobile apps. There, people have modified it, make it simple. Now, trading has become, it's like, as you said, it could be a gaming thing only. But very important is how we add value to that. As Ankit has already pointed out, the very important is the research piece of it. The people should not game in the stock market, but should earn the money by understanding it and use advisors to do that. So they have to understand the important bit and pieces of it. So that is very, very critical, and technology is playing a big role. See, we have moved from only mobile app to servicing on WhatsApp, servicing on voice bot, and we never know how fast the metaverse is coming up. So I think they are very, very exciting times. Probably then now Ankit doesn't have to visit to various countries to meet the client. Metaverse will be the right person to place to meet the people. So I would say there hell lot is going to happen in next 2-3 years, and market seems to be very good. So this is a good time for everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Narang. And again, enablers of technology being us, we are happy to see the growth. And I think these are exciting times, not just for the stockbroking industry, but also for CCaaS players like Ozontel. Mr. Sen, your thoughts?
Yeah.
See, this is an extremely exciting time to be a part of the industry. As I can see, it is moving at an extremely fast pace. It is NSE is one of the largest exchanges in the world, and it's continuously improving and basically ensuring that the entire stockbroking industry as such, keeps pace with the improved participation in the markets. Technology is becoming more and more crucial to to how the whole industry operates. It's these broking companies are no different than being called pure play tech companies, with a broking license, so as to speak. I would say, it's an extremely exciting time to be a part of the industry, and it is an extremely exciting time to be a part of the Indian capital markets.
Thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Sen. And Mr. Shah?
Yeah, like everyone said, extremely bullish on the market perspective. The markets are going to be in the green field. That's what we think, and that's what we all want. Our customers' wealth to improve. Basically, nobody wants that a customer's wealth should decrease or something like that. So the basic and the fundamental idea behind keeping the markets green and being bullish about is of the fact that the wealth of every customer should grow. Let it be my customer, let it be any customer. The wealth should grow. If the wealth will grow, the economy will grow. The economy grows, we will grow. So it's a round circular thing which is happening. And the three things which the complete dependency on future will be the regulatory requirements. The second will be the adaptation of the technology and how the customers adapt to the new technology. And like Mr. Ankit Agarwal said, the Gen Z generation, these are the guys who would be taking care of the future of this particular stock markets. So it all depends upon them. But having said that, extremely bullish and extremely positive with regards to the outcome of the markets and outcome of our economy is concerned.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Sudhanshu?
Yeah, so extremely exciting times, as everybody mentioned, and technology, of course, is going to play a leading role, and we are happy to be a technology company which is enabling some of this. But more importantly, I think it is the when it comes to service providers in any industry, while technology is something that everybody can keep pace with, it is technology is completely democratic. Everybody is free to use whatever technology is available. And our competitors and we are always in this rat race to get the best of technology all the time. However, the differentiating factor is going to be the customer experience. It's the CX that the customer experience that any company or any service provider provides to their customers that will be the biggest differentiator for them in the race with their competition. And that's where we, as a company, we have a philosophy of providing the best customer experience technologies, best customer experience tools, and the best customer experience solutions to our customers, who in turn can then give a great experience to their customers. That's the tenet by which we live and breathe every day. And we are proud that almost 2,500 customers, corporations, and a large number of banking and financial services customers are using our solutions to provide the best CX to their customers. So I'm very happy to have been a part of this discussion. I think it was very, very fruitful and quite informative and I would like while Prantik is a budding investor, I'm probably a slightly more mature in the journey, and I hope this industry remains stable, growing, and we stay bullish about it, as all of you said. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to rub shoulders with you.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. And in fact, thank you to all the panelists here and also to the audience for staying with us till this late. We started off by discussing challenges in the customer service processes, and while not just challenges, we discussed processes. We understood that customer service communication is not just one medium. There are different horses for different courses. There are different types of brokers, different types of customers. As the demographic changes, the strategy needs to change. And while technology being the core of it, the front-facing agents are also equally important. It's about finding the right mix of technology and finding the right mix of human plus technology to ensure that you provide the best experience.
Prantik, just to come in, because we are talking about Gen Z, and I think cricket is a recurring theme whether you are 60-year-old or 18-year-old.
True.
So you have to understand, investors are either T20 players, ODI players, or test players. So you are a budding investor. So please become a test player and not a T20 player.
Definitely a Rahul Dravid here.
Thank you, everyone.
With that note, thank you, everyone. And I'd like the audience to please fill the feedback form. Do share your feedback so that we can come up with better topics for discussion and enhance. And I'd like once again to thank everyone for joining us today, and have a good day ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So before we move, just thank you note from the Analytics team also. Until thank you for giving us the opportunity to host this. Thank you all the speakers, Mr. Dharmendra, Mr. Ankit, Mr. Jay, and Mr. Sain, Mr. Sudhanshu, and Prantik for wonderfully moderating. Audience, thank you for joining on time and making this a wonderful session with lot of engaging questions. As Prantik mentioned, please share your feedback with us on the feedback form. We shall be sharing the entire session link by tomorrow on a thank you mail, and looking forward to reconnect you with the Ozone-Tel team. So we might be reaching you out again for one-on-one interesting sessions. So on that note, thank you once again. Have a lovely evening. Stay safe, everyone. Bye. Wonderful.